It's a lovely day today, so whatever you've got to do, you got a lovely day to do it in, that's true. And I hope whatever you've got to do is something that can be done by two, or I'd really like to stay.
Welcome to Ask Aunt Ann. It's a lovely day here, and I hope it's a lovely day where you are. As my regular viewers know, our shows are built around your questions, and for each episode, we pick a topic and letters to go with it. This month, we decided to clean out the mailbox, so we have a potpourri of letters. Here's the first one. It's from Lawrence O'Donnell from Balsam Lake. Lawrence asks, "Dear Aunt Ann, our daughter is graduating this year, and we'd like to throw her a great party in our backyard. My question is, how do I decide on decorations? I want something special." Of course you do, Lawrence. And there are so many great ideas out there. To help you narrow down your options, pick a theme. If your daughter was active in certain school activities like drama or music or sports, that can be used as your theme. Or maybe there was a special vacation to Spain or a favorite experience like a drive-in movie. Make it something that reflects her personality. Next, narrow it down more. If you have a drama theme in mind, go with musicals or silent movies, or narrow it down even more and pick just one movie or play and let that be your inspiration. When you decide on the theme, pick out some colors and use them in as many things as you can. It's traditional to use school colors, but try to be a little bit more creative by adding a great accent color. So if the school colors are blue and white, add a bright punch of yellow or lime green. Now add in some props. For instance, I saw a great idea online that was used for a photo booth. A decorative backdrop was attached to the garage door. In this case, it was a red and white striped tablecloth, and an old school desk with a globe on it was set in front. Guests sat in the desk and were asked to hold up a sign giving some advice to the new grad. What a great keepsake, especially if they were preserved in a book. Using old items is a great way to follow through with the theme while saving money. Many items can be found in a thrift store. The important thing is to have fun and celebrate your daughter. Having some fun food for the grad party is a must. Here's one of my favorites, graduation cap candy pops. Here's what you'll need: pop sticks, peanut butter cups, little chocolate bars that are square in shape like Godiva, mini M&Ms, and fruit strips. First, pop the peanut butter cups in the freezer for a few minutes so that when you unwrap them, none of the chocolate will get stuck on the wrapper. Place the peanut butter cups on a sheet of wax paper and allow them to come back to room temperature. While you're waiting, melt a little candy coating in the microwave. Now dip the end of the stick in some of the melted coating and carefully insert into the cups about halfway and let dry. Now unwrap the chocolate bars and with the candy coating, glue on the tassel and button. When that's dried, glue the top to the peanut butter cup. Aren't they cute? To display the pops, place styrofoam in a decorative container. Put the sticks in the styrofoam and add candy to cover the styrofoam. That's it. This one is from Sarah Zimmer in Monroe. Dear Aunt Ann, I am 8 years old and I love to watch your show. I was hoping you could give me a simple recipe for something I can make my dad on Father's Day. Sarah. P.S. He likes food. Well, Sarah, I am honored that you are a fan. You sound like a pretty smart girl, so here's a recipe I think your dad is going to love. You will need 1 package of cooked ham, rectangular slices work the best. 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese, softened. 1 jar kosher dill pickles, either whole or spears. I'm using the whole pickles. First, lay the ham slices flat on a cutting board and pat them dry with a paper towel to remove excess water. Spread with cream cheese. Be sure the cream cheese is soft and spreadable. Next, place a pickle at one end of the slice and roll the slice into a cylinder around the pickle. Secure the edge of the ham with toothpicks. Finally, using a serrated knife, cut between the toothpicks to make bite-sized servings. It's as simple as that. All the fellows I know think these roll-ups are the cat's pajamas, so I'm sure your dad will like them too. And speaking of dads, my friend Peggy Sue's dad is our musical guest today. He's quite a hoot. He collects old instruments, especially guitars, and he's brought over a couple of them today to share with us. Let's go take a look. Hi, Cliff.
Hi, Aunt Ann.
I'm so glad you could join us today and share some of your treasures with us.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. I'm very glad to be here. I got stuck in Florida in customs. I was down in Cuba with Ricky Ricardo performing, and I came back and they sent me through customs, and I guess they thought my dice were loaded or something.
You
I'm
always have such
I'm not
exciting
sure.
excursions.
But it was fun playing with him, and now I'm back in the States, and I brought in a few instruments for your show.
Thank you.
So what I want to show right away is a lot of people think that this is the first electric type guitar by Les Paul, and it's not. This guitar here is the first electric guitar, right here. And it's played like a Hawaiian style guitar. It's made, you just lifted, Aunt Ann.
Thank you.
That's solid aluminum.
Yes, it is. It's very solid.
Very heavy, isn't it? And you play it on your lap or on a table like this. You use a steel bar, that's the term steel guitar. And you use 3 picks on your fingers and 1 pick on your thumb. And you...
That has a great sound.
Doesn't it though? So a lot of people played Hawaiian music with this. Later on, people played the blues with it. They played bluegrass. You can do a lot of things with this. Now, this guitar here, I picked up on South 3rd Street. It's brand new from the Sears and Roebuck store.
Wow, what
And
a
it's called
find.
a Stratotone. And you'll notice that it looks like a Les Paul, but it's not. It's very, very light. But what's really cool, Daddy-o, right, is the atomic sign there. Because we're really shooting off a lot of atomic bombs right now.
That's right.
Yes. Now, another instrument I have is this one here. And if you could say this, Thuringen Volzither, I think Senator McCarthy wants your address and your phone number. Okay? Now, they also call it a Luther zither, and I have a book on Martin Luther, and here is a portrait of him and his family singing, and he's playing something very similar. Okay? Now, the other day I was watching Dick Clark, and he had on these 2 guys. One guy's a little short, play guitar, and he's the songwriter. The other guy was kind of taller, had curly, goofy hair, and all he does is sing, but they harmonize together. And they're called Tom and Jerry. And they have a big hit out there right now. Okay? And I'm kind of written a song that I'm going to send them, because I think they could maybe make a hit out of this somewhere down the road.
Let's hear it.
Well, I just have kind of the beginning. Just, oh, did I tell you their names? It's Simon and Garfunkel.
Simon and Garfunkel.
And they go by
that's
Tom
right.
and Jerry. I mean, they'll never make it as Simon and Garfunkel.
I don't think
Oh,
so.
boy. Now, the next one I have, this is my oldest guitar.
Ooh, look at the beautiful inlay.
This is from Mark Neukirch in Germany, and it was made by Karl August Glasel back in 1860. And it uses this little clock key system here that was invented by Johann Orhe Stolfer of Vienna. And what it's for is, you turn the clock key here, Aunt Ann, and the fingerboard, can you see it raise and lower?
I can see.
See how that goes up like that?
And down.
And down again. And it's just a beautiful sounding guitar. Later on in the show, I'll perform with this guitar.
Oh, that would be
Okay?
wonderful.
Well, thank you. Now, as you know, you can't turn TV on without seeing a Western.
That's right.
Oh, it kind of drives me nuts at times. But I have here my cowboy guitar case. And it has Conestoga wagons and cowboys and Indians and just all sorts of shows. Here's a guy playing a guitar.
And a bucking bronco.
Bucking bronco? Yeah, it's just a great cowboy case. But inside, there's other shows on TV right now. And one of my favorites is this one. Circus Boy.
Oh.
And Circus Boy book, War on Wheels. Now, for you people out there, the young actor, his name is Mickey Braddock. But that's not his real name, Ann. Aunt Ann, his real name is Mickey Dolenz.
That's right.
I bet you he'll be a real monkey someday, huh?
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Oh, goodness. Now, I know you always have tips for people.
That's right.
I have brought in telephone service tips today. I just want you to catch that quick, and then I'll read them to you. Now, for good telephone service, especially on party lines, and as you know, a lot of people are on party lines here, please be brief on all calls, avoid needless calls, space calls so other parties have a chance at the line, yield the line in emergencies, single lines or party lines. Courtesy is catching.
Telephone etiquette for all of our viewers
Yes,
out there.
and I'm going to leave this with you because I know your shows are taped over or destroyed and then you don't have it anymore.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. I'm sure all of our viewers will appreciate this, Cliff.
Well, Aunt Ann, thank you for having me on.
It's always a pleasure.
I have to get to Studio B because I want to see this singer on the Arthur Godfrey show. Her name is Carmel Quinn.
Ah,
Wouldn't it be something if someday I would marry someone named Carmel?
that would be something.
Wouldn't that?
Yes. But first, before you leave,
Yes.
you must play a song for us.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aunt Ann. There was a boy, a very strange enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far, over land and sea, a little shy and sad of eye, but very wise was he. And then one day, one magic day, he passed my way. And as we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he traveled very far, over land and sea, a little shy and sad of eye, very wise was he. One magic day passed my way, and as we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return.
Thank you, Cliff. That was lovely. Thanks so much for coming. Well, we have one more letter, and I need some help with this one. My friend and neighbor Jimmy is an electrical engineer, so I thought he'd be perfect to answer this question. It's from Linda Engels, who lives in Omro. Dear Aunt Anne, help! I just don't understand light bulbs anymore. There are so many different types now. Should I stock up on the old ones before they aren't sold anymore? I understand, Linda. It is so confusing trying to figure out which kind of light bulb I need. I take a lot more time buying bulbs these days, too. Jimmy, can you make it simple for us to understand?
Sure, Ann. Buying a bulb used to be pretty straightforward. You check your old bulb's wattage, head to the store, and then pick up a new one. But the transition to energy-efficient lighting has changed all that. Halogens, CFLs, watts versus lumens. There are a lot of choices on the market today, and it can make selecting the bulb very confusing. So here are some things that might help you, Linda. We used to identify bulbs by their wattage, but that is actually a measure of the electrical energy used, not necessarily the brightness of the bulb. The amount of light a bulb generates is measured in what's called lumens. For example, an old 60-watt incandescent bulb gives off approximately 800 lumens of light. Newer LED bulbs, which are much more energy efficient, can deliver the same amount of light using as little as 10 watts. The EPA estimates that if every household replaced just one incandescent bulb with an LED or compact fluorescent, Americans could save close to $700 million per year in energy costs. So, stocking up on the old incandescents might not be the best idea. Here are the differences between the three common options available in bulbs today. Standard incandescents. These bulbs give off the warm, yellowish-white light we've grown to love, but they are highly inefficient, losing 90% of their energy to heat. You can still find traditional incandescent bulbs on the store shelves, but major manufacturers have stopped producing the most common varieties, meaning that 40, 60, 75, and 100-watt bulbs are becoming scarcer in the coming months. Production of specialty incandescents like three-way bulbs are still continuing. And contrary to what you may have heard, incandescent bulbs have not been banned. In response to a 2007 law, higher efficiency standards have been set, and so manufacturers have added halogen gas to incandescent bulbs to make them more efficient. These halogen incandescents give off the same light as traditional ones, but use 28% less energy. So you'll see these bulbs in unusual wattages like 72 or 53. Like standard ones, they last about 1 year. Compact fluorescents, or commonly referred to as CFLs, have come a long way since they were introduced in the 90s. Today, the color of the light is much improved. Some of them can be dimmed, they turn on much quicker, and the price per bulb has dropped to a few dollars or less. They use about 75% less than incandescents and have an estimated life of 9 years. One important thing to note, CFLs contain very small amounts of mercury and should be disposed of properly. Look for recycling drop-off sites at hardware stores and city recycling centers. Third, LEDs. These have the smallest percentage of the US market, but that is rapidly changing. As prices continue to drop, more and more people will be using them. LEDs use about 80% less than incandescents and have an estimated life of more than 20 years. Most of them can be dimmed, but check the bulb's packaging to be sure. So far, the cost is what stopped people from buying them. 60-watt LED bulbs are selling for less than $10, but higher wattage equivalents can be twice as much or more. All bulbs today are required to come with an informational label on the package called lighting facts. This gives us an apples-to-apples comparison between the different types of bulbs and even between similar bulbs from different manufacturers. Here's what you need to know. Brightness. Like I said earlier, we're used to equating watts with the amount of light a bulb gives off. Now is the time to think in lumens. The higher the number, the brighter the light. 800 lumens is equivalent to a 60 watt incandescent, 1100 for 75 watt, and 1600 for 100 watt. Bulb life. The lifespan indicated on the label assumes a 3-hour of use per day. Keep in mind this number is an estimate based on simulations performed in a lab. Some bulbs will not last as long as promised, and others will last longer. But most manufacturers offer a warranty on energy-efficient light bulbs, some as long as even 5 or 10 years. Experts suggest consumers choose bulbs with the EPA's Energy Star rating. These bulbs have gone through verification testing. Light appearance. The light appearance number found on the light bulb package refers to something called correlated color temperature, or CCT, which is measured in degrees Kelvin. Simply stated, this number offers a sense of how warm or cool a light looks. The yellowish glow of an incandescent bulb, often called soft white, is considered warm and comes at about 2700 K. Your old fluorescent tubes in your basement give off a much cooler light, bluer, and could measure like 5000 K or above. Estimated yearly cost. This is the cost to light the bulb based on an average usage of 3 hours per day with an electricity cost of 11 cents per kilowatt hour. Again, these are estimates, and your usage and costs will vary. Energy used. This number represents how much electricity a light bulb consumes, measured in watts. CFLs and LEDs use far fewer watts to produce the same amount of light as incandescents. A 60 watt equivalent CFL may use 13 watts, whereas an LED may only use 10 watts. So even though the LED or CFL may be more expensive initially, it will actually save money in the long run in energy costs over the entire life of the bulb. I've seen some charts that estimate the cost of the 4 different types of bulbs. The old 60 watt incandescent will cost on average $76 over 10 years. The equivalent of a halogen comes in at about $68 for 10 years. The CFL is $22 and the LED is $16. Separately, some light bulb packages include another measurement called the Color Rendering Index, or CRI. This number is meant to give some sense of how accurately a source displays different colors. The biggest light bulb we have, the sun, has a CRI of 100. Traditional incandescent bulbs have a CRI pretty close to 100. And then for CFLs and LEDs, the EPA requires bulbs to have a CRI of 80 or higher to qualify for the Energy Star label. The CRI of a bulb can be important if you are concerned with how they show different colors in, say, your home, of like your walls or other decor that you might have. All these numbers aside, lighting experts say that the best thing to do is try a few options at home before committing to changing all your bulbs. And don't limit yourself to the standard A-type bulb that we are most accustomed to. Now more than ever, there are CFL and LED options for specialty bulbs for things like recessed lighting or track lighting. It's a lot of information, but the key thing to remember is to think long term. The high initial cost of CFLs and especially LEDs might take a few months or a few years even to recoup in energy savings, but after that, it's money back in your pocket. So it's a good thing for everyone. It will just take a little time to get used to the new bulbs. I hope that wasn't too confusing, Ann.
Not at all, Jimmy. I learned a lot that I didn't know before. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll have a reference guide up on my website to help you keep track of all this information. Before we go, I'd like to share a poem with you. A while back on one of my thrift shopping trips, I found a book of poetry by Celia Schley-Meyer. She spent her early childhood on the extensive farm of her parents near Juneau in southeastern Wisconsin. Throughout her life, she gave much time to the study of English, German, and American classic poetry. Her poetry gives us a realistic description of animal life and nature. The poem I picked out for you gives a vivid portrait of how transforming spring can be. Spring's ecstasy. What ecstasy is this that now floods each torpid thing? Slumber is o'er, has taken wing. Thrilling gently in the sun, life's stream is flowing, spring's begun. What ecstasy is this that breaks the dream of flowers? Potent wine to them are showers. Sun and rain, the lightning's flare, have done their work, spring is there. What ecstasy is this that starting the green frog's song, the surging strain unsung too long, marshy lake and willow ledge, too long have been a dreaming sedge. What ecstasy is now in wild birds' amorous song? They come and bring the spring along. Shrub and tree, with breezes warm, soon cradle nestlings in the storm. Ah, this is ecstasy, now wakening the human heart. 'Tis joy that's from the world apart. Joys of love reach spheres divine. Oh, happy time, the spring is mine. Thank you for watching and spending some of your day with us. If you have a favorite poem, please send it my way through my website or Facebook page. I'll be back next month with a new show that you will be sure to enjoy. Please stop by for a visit and keep those letters coming.
It's a lovely day today, so whatever you've got to do, you got a lovely day to do it in, that's true. And I hope whatever you've got to do is something that can be done by two, or I'd really like to stay. It's a lovely day today, and whatever you've got to do, I'd be so happy to be doing it with you. But if you've got something that must be done, and it can only be done by one, there is nothing more to say, except it's a lovely day for saying it's a lovely day.